What did you dream about becoming as a child? Were those dreams thinking about becoming a crime-fighting superhero, solving world issues like hunger, playing in the NFL? Maybe some or none of that at all. What if on the way to pursuing your dreams, you dealt with things like depression, like bullying? You had adversity after adversity, things like injuries. How would you react and respond to that? Would it change your dreams? Today, I'm talking with former Big Ten champ, Rose Bowl champ, Cotton Bowl champ, NFL retired Taiwan Jones. Taiwan's going to share stories about his childhood dreams, the adversity that he faced along the way he overcame moment after moment after moment to still pursue some of his biggest and wildest dreams. And from his days at Anchor Bay High School to Michigan State, Spartan Nation to the NFL, and then wrapping that up, closing that chapter in his life and starting a new one. Welcome to At the Podium. Hello again, and welcome to At the Podium with Manuel Amezcua. I am Manuel Amezcua, and as you all know, I'm obsessed with understanding how high-achieving people operate, how they pursue their dreams, and learning from their life stories. The podcast is meant to give you the tools to achieve your biggest dreams and reach your highest potential through learning from the paths of those that we interview. And as I mentioned earlier, today I'm here with my friend Taiwan Jones. Taiwan, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Manny.
So
looking forward to it.
We were chuckling about a couple things, but I wanted to see if you'd be willing to open up with the story of Panama City spring break.
Okay. All right. So, like I was telling Manny, we, at Michigan State, the years I was playing there, they call them the golden years. We were so close. We literally did everything together. So imagine at least 12 of us. Everybody playing, everybody starting. Key players on the team. We go down to Panama City Beach. We don't fly. We go to the airport, rent some small cars. Some people some in the Impala, some people in RAV4s, and it was like 4 to 5 people to a car. We drive down there. We get down there. They had one rule. Don't bring outside guests into the condo. We had one teammate who didn't agree with that rule, so he kept trying to bring people into the condo. They stopped him the third time. The guy calls us and tells us we literally just got there. Maybe we've been there for 4 hours, just showered, getting ready to go out. He calls me and tells us we're getting kicked out 4 hours into it. So all our stuff. We just went grocery shopping. We're on a curb in Panama City Beach. In college, you don't have money in college. It was no NIL, it was none of that. We was going on there with whatever money we had. Most of it was, paid for the trip. So we're on the curb with raw meat, vegetables, whatever else we had over there, and we had nowhere to stay. We're calling our parents, asking them to Western Union us some money because Cash App and all those things weren't a thing then. We had to go to Walmart to try to, get some money from our parents, and we ended up in a motel. A motel, which we only had 2 motel rooms, and like I said, it was 12 of us. So it was probably like 6 people to a motel room. So we had no choice but to be close. We're in a motel room. We see roaches crawling around the ground. We ended up staying for 2 days. And after that, we ended up going back to, just driving back to Michigan because we're like, okay, maybe it's not our time. So just imagine how quiet a 16-hour ride is, spending all this money that we don't even get to have fun in. But, at the end of the day, we still tell the stories to this day. It was my senior speech. I told the story. Coach D didn't find it as funny. But all of our teammates, they understood, where it came from and, how close we were. Just to be able to do that and, leave out of there without no fights because, honestly, we should have beat up the guy who kept trying to bring in these, the girls or whoever he's trying to bring into the motel room after they told him the first time not to. But it was a good time, man. And, that's one of the stories that, one of my favorite stories from college because it just shows, even handling adversity. We could have just turned around and just went straight home there, and just called it a trip. We tried to make it work, stayed at a motel, which was very uncomfortable, but we had each other. We're still laughing, playing jokes. I wish, like I said, social media was bigger back in the day, so we had like more videos, and more, more things to like have those memories. But
the nostalgia.
But just remembering, I'm sure that everybody, Shalik Calhoun, Jeremy Langford, Lawrence Thomas, all these people can tell you the story, man, and different versions of the story. And it's probably one of the best stories I had in college.
Well, and I love that story because before we started the conversation today, Taiwan and I were talking about just the greatness of the football program in those days. You're talking about a Big Ten championship, a Rose Bowl, Cotton Bowl. I mean, some of the best players that have ever come out of that program and go and play at the league at the highest level of playing football. And we were talking about how you become close, and that's the story that came up.
Story. I'm telling you, because all of those guys we were all pretty much in the same class, and then maybe it's a class above, like Jeremy Langford and a couple of like.
Oh,
Tony
sure.
Lippett. They were a class above us, but we're considered the same class.
Yes.
We all got along. Like I know a lot of programs, like even when I went to train for the combine, they had no clue that you could be that close as a team. Because some of us trained in the same spot. They're like, you guys are close. And we're like, yeah, I mean, we literally did everything together. And then they were like, oh, we barely talked to each other on our team, besides practice. And, they had the little cliques. So I think that's what helped us win and helped us, be successful those years.
That's wonderful. So so great story, great way to kick off. Let's go back to the very beginning of like your childhood. When did football hit your radar? Like when did you start to realize like, hey, football's going to be my jam?
I mean, I don't know. We talked earlier. I wanted to be a doctor. You want to be everything you see on TV, and I wasn't, big into sports, then back as a kid. My dad played basketball in college and had a short stint with the Chicago Bulls, so he wanted me to play basketball. So basketball was all I knew. And then we went to the church we went to. One of the guys was he was a coach for the Little League team. So he's like, bring him out. I had big size. Bring him out. Get him a part of the team. And once I stepped on the field, it's like I never wanted to go back. And that's when the team I played for was the Eastside Falcons. So I was like, okay, there's an NFL team called the Eastside Falcons. And at that time, the quarterback was Michael Vick, one of the most exciting players. So now I fall in love with football. Fall in love with Michael Vick. Now I'm 100% committed. I'm in there. My dad's mad because he wants me to play basketball, and I'm saying football is my sport. But that was like one of the biggest things for me, like just trying to. When I finally start playing football and then seeing this electrifying player like Michael Vick play, I was like, yeah, that's it for me, And then I got to high school and just took it to the next level.
How was it? What's your fondest memory of playing at Anchor Bay?
My fondest memory, well, I started at Cardinal Mooney. It was a Catholic school my freshman year. And then I ended up leaving there because I was, being hazed. I was the only black kid in the school in Marine City, So I was, I cried to my parents. I'm like, yo, I gotta get out of here. I can't be here. I'm not fun because I'm younger than everybody in my class. So when I got to college, I was 17. So I think I started high school maybe the 12 or 13. Like I'm young. 12, 13 playing against 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. So I was like, finally, they was like, okay, we're going to get you back to Anchor Bay, which is the middle school I went to. So I'm already familiar with those people, all these kids we already grew up with. So I ended up going back to Anchor Bay. And then from there, I started on varsity. And it was kind of like being at Michigan State. I'm playing with the same kids that I grew up with, the same kids I'm close with. So I was, I'm big on camaraderie and, having these relationships, with your teammates because that's how you end up winning. And while I was at Anchor Bay, I think we made the playoffs for the first time in maybe 10 years, my senior year. So like I said, that was my class. So that's why I'm so big on relationships and being even my teammates today from Michigan State. I'm close to a lot of them. We talk all the time. They support me. They show up to my gym. I show up to their events, charity events, whatever they need. That's just the type of people we are.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's how we met,
yes.
Right? You showed up to an event that Coach Dantonio was speaking at, and he made it a point to make that clear.
Yep.
Right?
He didn't even know I was coming.
Yeah, that's super powerful. Going back to those days at Anchor Bay, was there a teammate you had that you really kind of looked up to that you said, man, I want to play at his level. I want to play like him. I want to be like him. Was there somebody on that team back in that day that really set the tone?
No, because Anchor Bay, we weren't known for football. We were known for wrestling.
Okay.
We're known for wrestling. So we had nobody to go play college. I don't think ever. Maybe D3, but there was nobody. So when I stepped on the field, I was like, okay, this is my chance. I could be the first person out of Anchor Bay to make it D1, make it to the NFL, and fortunately I was. The coaches believed in me. The coaches, they took their time with me. Like I said, I came in, I was young. I was leaving a situation where I was bullied and hazed, and so that kind of affected me too. I want to make sure you bring me right back in here to play on varsity at a much bigger school, with a bunch of different players and predominantly white school. So I was kind of skeptical at first, but they took their time with me, and then that's when I just started falling back in love with the sport.
Well, and I want to come back to when we get to the point in the conversation today where we're speaking about the business that you started and that you're running today very successfully. I want to come back to the bullying.
Okay.
Because I know you're pouring into to student athletes today every single day. You just came from a workout, and I love it. And I want to talk about bullying and how that helped shape some of where you got to and why you're back in the business of molding young men and women to be their best athlete and their best self. Right.
Yes.
Let's talk about the journey from Anchor Bay to Michigan State. I don't think a lot of people know that story. Take us through what your senior year looked like playing at Anchor Bay. I mean, you were standout. Everybody knew your name in the entire state. Offers were coming in. What was that experience like? How did you narrow it down? What role did your parents play in the school that you chose? Tell us that story.
My first time, even being introduced to the recruiting world was my sophomore year. Going into my junior year, and first thing you know, I get a call. They call over the PA. Hey, we need Taiwan Jones. We have somebody here to speak to him. I don't know who it is. I'm like, am I in trouble? I'm in trouble. Everything. When you walk to that principal's office, it's like everything in your mind. Like, what did I do today? What did I do last week? Did I do something? I go downstairs, and it's Dan Enos. Dan Enos at the time was my recruiting coach. So he talked to me. Had the Michigan State polo on, and ever since then I was like, oh man, I guess I'm really that good. All the teachers, my head coach, because they've never seen that before at Anchor Bay.
I want to give a special shout out to my friend Dana Cornelius. Dana's the CEO, co-owner of Sport of Kings, the gear that I am rocking today. Yes, folks, I do wear more than a blue suit, white shirt, and a tie. Check out their website, SOKFY.com. If you drop in the word Podium in the discount code, they're going to send you an amazing package of whatever you order with 20% off. Check it out, Sport of Kings. Love Dana and Tiffany.
So now you got, Michigan State, which is, one of the top programs in the country, coming to see this athlete at your school, it's kind of a big deal. So after that, the next, following that visit, a lot of more visits start coming. I think I got Toledo. I start getting Michigan. I start getting Georgia, Purdue, Indiana, and they start becoming more real to me. I got to take this seriously now. Sure. I have to buckle down and I want to get to the next level. I don't want to be like somebody who just can say, oh, I had all these offers. I could have done that and I didn't do it. So that going through that and going through my junior year was tough for me because my junior year before the season, the scrimmage, I tore my meniscus, so I had to sit out the first 4 games. Right after that, I came back, I did my recovery. I think they made me sit out for 5-6 weeks just to make sure I was good. So I came back for the end of the season. The game I come back, I dislocate my shoulder. So I played maybe 1 game that whole season. And all these, I didn't commit yet. I had no commitment. So now I'm worried, because you hear stories all the time about colleges, taking away scholarships because injuries and things like that. So I ended up coming back for basketball season, which Coach D ended up coming to a basketball game, and watched me play. Probably my worst game I ever had, and the worst game I ever had in high school, man. And I was like, man, they're definitely not gonna pick me up, man. I get hurt this year. Then this game, I probably only had 8 points when I normally was scoring 18 to 20. But I ended up coming back that next season, and I just had a standout year. And then right before the season, Michigan State stuck by my side, so they didn't go anywhere. They always showed that interest in me, whether I had the injuries or not. So I was like, okay, before the season, let me commit to Michigan State. So now that whole season, all the pressure was off because I already know where I'm going.
Yes.
So that was the biggest thing for me. And then just going to Michigan State right after, going to the visits, and my family just fall in love with the coaches and seeing how the coaches and the staff, they didn't give up on me. Because a lot of teams did. They was like, oh, this guy's only 16 and he had a meniscus tear, had surgery on it. Then he had a dislocated. At that point, I seemed injury prone.
Sure.
So it was to me it was a no-brainer. I went to Michigan. I went to all the other schools, and they were nice, but it was not a different feel when you walk on the Michigan State campus and everybody's like a family. Everybody I could already tell we were gonna win when I was there.
That's awesome. What is your fondest memory of your visits to Michigan State prior to starting on campus your freshman year?
It was a Little Giants game.
Tell us about that.
I'm going. I haven't been to many many college games, until I started getting recruited. So I think this might have been my second or third game, and it's Michigan State. I don't think were we down? I can't believe I can't remember if Michigan State was down or not. I just remember it was kicking a field goal. Everybody's on their feet, thinking. I think we were trying to take it to overtime, or I don't even win the game, something. But next thing you know, they fake it. Who was it? I think it's Charlie Gant in the corner of the end zone. They scored, and I seen like the crowd, and I seen the excitement. And, it was so electric, and I was like, okay, I got to come here. You see the student section. You see everybody run on the field. Like it's just something about like just being in like that moment.
Yeah.
Because I'd never been to a game like that.
Yeah.
Because I went to the Michigan game as well when Larry Caper, broke off that run in the end zone in overtime. But I left before because I had homecoming that day, so I didn't get the experience. The full.
Sure.
But I stayed the whole game. It was a night game. So everybody's already rowdy from the night game, tailgate the whole day. So when that happened and you just hear everybody around you screaming, going crazy, hugging each other, strangers just hugging each other. I was like, okay, I got to come here. This is it for me, yeah.
Was there somebody that was visiting Michigan State at that same time that ended up being a teammate of yours that you hit it off with during the process?
All of them.
Yeah.
I came in with Connor Cook, Shalik Calhoun, Darren Harris, Lawrence Thomas. It was a bunch. Joe Heath. Like all these guys, we all came in together. And we were all called Ed Davis. Me and crazy part about it, Ed Davis. Me and him played Little League together. That Little League team I was telling you about.
Oh, you're kidding.
Me and Ed was on the same Little League team. I didn't even know me and Ed were going to be on the same team until he showed up on campus. Because I never paid attention to like the sites and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I didn't know he was going to be my teammate.
Wow.
And we literally played together since we were kids.
That's awesome.
So all those guys, we hit it off right away.
What a
like
great
Lawrence
group.
Thomas, me and him, we played on the national 7-on-7 team.
Yeah.
Then me and him, we were talking to each other at the same time. He was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna commit. I was like, man, if you commit, I'm gonna commit. And then we ended up committing both at the same time. So I was comfortable with him. Then we said we had another linebacker from DC, which happened to be Darian.
Yeah.
And then me and Darren ended up being roommates, and that's my boy, my best friend, So everything just like works out for a reason. Like everybody in there,
We've got Darian coming up on the show in October.
Nice.
October 17th.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a D Harris story?
I gotta think. I got a bunch from that guy, man.
Do you see how beautiful a child they have?
Yeah,
I mean, him and Liv, that baby.
That
I'm
baby
like
beautiful.
blown away. I'm like, that's magazine day one.
I remember because to us, like it's still my boy. To me, I'm like, we still kids. He told me he had a baby. I said, what? You having a baby? But then I had to realize, man, we are, and we're getting older.
Yes.
It's hard to accept. Like I get up out of bed now, bones cracking.
Yeah.
But it's good to see him flourish and seeing his family flourish and then what he's doing up at Michigan State.
Oh, it's amazing what he's doing with the program and Coach Tucker, right?
100%.
Yeah, full tilt, man. He is such a grinder.
Yeah, he is.
High intensity, high octane.
And that's what I like because we feed off each other. Like Darian, he does his thing. Arjun, one of our other boys who played cornerback at Michigan State, he's up thriving at in Canada and Toronto, working with I think it's whatever the stadium is where they play basketball. Like he's like one of the head,
Raptors.
Yeah, he's like one of the head commands of all the events there. Just seeing like all these people like do their own thing. We kind of feed off each other because he's like, all right, he's pushing me. He's pushed me without even, knowing he's pushing me because I'm like, oh, that's my boy. I don't want to let him down. I want to be able to say like, hey, we all own this together. Like we're all doing this. Like when we come back together, we don't want to have, have anybody like feel like, they're not accomplishing their goals because, they can do it, so.
When I visited with Coach Dantonio, he struck me as somebody who has great vision, but can also communicate a really inspiring story to get men to just gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
He spoke about the Rose Bowl. Mm-hmm. He spoke about like the vision he had that it was just going to happen before the season even started. And I just was like, I was like a little boy just mesmerized, like hanging on to every word he was telling me as he was telling me this story of how he had envisioned it coming into fruition.
Everything he said came true.
Yeah,
he said we will be the ones. The Rose Bowl, the Big Ten championship game, we'll be playing in that game. Although we didn't go my freshman year when Kirk Cousins was out there and he made that video as well.
Yes.
Like we were right there. So it's just everything that he was saying, like we just believed in it. After we like if he's passionate about it, all right, we're passionate about it. We got you back. and that's how we were as a program.
What are one or two of your fondest memories of him,
Coach D,
from during that time?
Oh man, one, he was my mentor. So every player that came in was assigned a mentor. You know, some people had Coach Manny, some people had Coach Guest, some people had their position coach. Mine was Coach D. You know, so like whenever I needed any advice, or even when we had like our monthly meetings, he came in and he told me his expectations of me, and then I didn't want to let him down, so that's why I did everything I could to try to meet those expectations. But at the same time, like the guy is funny, man. Like he'll yell at us in the team meeting room, and all of a sudden he'll yell at us, and everybody's just quiet. And next thing you know, he'll just sit there and be like, okay, so what's going on? And then everybody just starts laughing. Like it's just like times like that, he's just like a funny guy to be around. Like people see him like on the sideline and see how serious he is, But like this, he really cares about his players. He's actually really funny. Like if you're around him long enough and you just see like his personality and everything. Yes. Like some of the stories we have, I think it was the Baylor game. The Baylor game. Before we had a meeting as Eagles, so Eagles were like the 10 leaders on the football team. It could have been like 5 on offense, 5 on defense. I was part of that meeting. We sat there and we talked before we went out to Texas, and we was like, what color pants, what uniforms we want to wear? We said white jerseys, green pants. He said, okay, let's do white jerseys, green pants. We get down to Baylor. It's time to take pictures. We come out, white jersey, green pants. This man loses it. What are y'all wearing? I never proved this. Like we're getting cussed out. Like literally, like and then one of our teammates who was on the Eagles, so he told us, he said, everybody get up from this picture, go in, we'll change into the white pants. No, actually, no. We didn't have the white pants. We had to send one of the equipment guys back to East Lansing from Texas the day before the game to go get white pants.
No.
That's why you see we're wearing white pants against Baylor when we came back. So one of the guys was the Eagles, right? So he was injured. So he's on crutches, right? We're all taking off because we know he's upset. So we're all like kind of a short little trot to the back to the locker room to change out of it. So he's on crutches. Coach G's walking right next to him, just yelling at him because he can't move. He's on crutches. He can only go so fast. So, but that's one of the stories like we always tell, like when we go to the Saddler event and like things like that, because that just shows like who he is. He's funny. Like we weren't even mad about it. It's like that's just Coach D. We literally sat there and we voted on it. We said white jerseys, green pants. We come out there with green pants and my man loses it. But it was like one of the best. That's another one of the best stories I have at MSU. That one in the PCB, hands down.
That's awesome. You're playing at Michigan State, have a great career, recognized as a top performing linebacker. A lot of energy and excitement for you to go to the league. Talk us through, maybe share a story about preparing for the combine, what that experience was like, and then going into the NFL as an undrafted free agent.
The combine, it was good. I always wish that I would have trained somewhere else, just because I wanted, more like attention. Like where I was training at, we had Melvin Gordon, Shaq Thompson. We had like 7 first-round picks and then 3 second-round picks. So when the ESPNs come around, they do their stories. They only focus on them. So who are the strength coaches focused on?
Yeah,
those guys. So even like when I need like the little extra attention, because when I got there, I had to lose, I think it was 15 to 20 pounds in a month and a half.
How much were you weighing then?
After the last game of Baylor, I was 260. I had to get down to 245 by the combine. I made it on the dot.
Awesome.
245 on the dot, but at the same time, I'm too busy worrying on losing the weight, like the technique and everything, running the 40, because the 40 is all technique.
Yes.
So like me having that extra time with them, I didn't get it because they were focused on, the other guys. But I went to the combine. I wasn't happy with like my results because I knew like the training I got wasn't. I wish I would have stayed back home with the trainer I had growing up.
Sure.
Because when I came back and I trained with him after the combine, I had a much better pro day. Yeah. So but at the same time, they're gonna take those combine numbers over the pro day because it's lazy. Big deal. It's a big deal. Right. Pro day, anybody can run a 4.2. Anybody can run a 4.3 at pro day. It's all about who's quicker on the thumb. But I mean, it was the combine. It was a good experience, but it was a stressful experience, And I don't think a lot of people know that. Like you barely get any sleep. You have to wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to do a drug test. You have all these meetings you have to do, and you do all of this stuff before you do any type of testing. The testing's the last day. Like you're up for. I think the combine is 3 days. For the 2 days you're there, you meet with almost every single NFL team. You have individual meetings with the teams that have you on the list. You have to do like drug tests. You have to do all these different screenings. You have to do. I had 2 surgeries in college and my shoulder, so I had to get MRIs. I remember I was up to 2:00 in the morning getting an MRI. Had to do a drug test at 4 a.m. And then from drug test, you don't go back to sleep. You have breakfast, and then you got to do more meetings and stuff. And then the last day is you don't run the 40 to literally the last day. So it was like it was stressful, and it was like a lot of it's mental.
Sure.
Like a lot of things in life are, but like this was like more so mental than being than talent. But I went through the process. I entrusted in my skills and like let my film do the talking. Coming to draft day, I'm getting 3rd round, 4th round, latest 5th round. I invite my family over, my girlfriend at the time. I had a bunch of people over, friends. My teammates came down, Darian, Demetrius Cox. They're all down.
Yeah.
They're all down that waiting for me to get called. On the 2nd day because that's 3rd, 4th round. Don't get called. Miami Dolphins call me. They tell me, hey, we want to take you. We have 4 picks in the 5th round. I wasn't one of them. So then I'm like, I'm sitting there. So I leave from the party. And I just go sit upstairs, by myself. And I'm like, I'd rather watch the rest of it by myself because I feel like I let these people down that's downstairs. They came from Lansing, came from all over. I think at the time Snapchat was around. So now you got Snapchat, draft day. So to me, it's embarrassing, especially when I'm being told this and, being told that. Then my agent calls me after the draft and said, you have 2 places to go. He said, we really want you, Miami and then New York. For me, I was a little bit bitter. So I said, let's do New York. Because Miami, they promised me, but then they didn't even take me. So how can I trust them?
Yeah.
For me, going back on, I wish I would have went to Miami.
Why?
Just because like the program, the defense they ran was the defense I ran in college. It's the 4-3.
Yeah.
And then I've seen like some of the players who also got picked up non-drafted free agent, and they stuck around for a long time. We played against each other in college, and me as a competitor, I know I was better than them. I knew I was faster than them. I knew like I was more physical, more athletic, but they stuck around because I think it was a different coaching staff. Me, like my coaching staff, they were good, but like they were just like it's a lot of pressure.
Sure.
It was so much pressure. I was behind David Harris, who played 12 years at Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
DeMario Davis, who right now is an All-Pro. So, and then they had, like, other vets behind them. But my first year, I practiced squad, and I worked my way up to the active roster. The next year, I'm going into camp. I think I played I started the last game of the preseason. That's the game that make or break you. I had 9 tackles. Interception and 2 pass breakups and almost a fumble recovery. And the coaches, they tell me, I'm good, you're going to make the team, you're good. I go back to East Lansing. It was the first game. I think they were playing Youngstown State or somebody, Eastern Kentucky, and that day I got cut. Wow. So then I was like, now I'm just, I'm stressing. I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, after that performance.
After that performance, like, what more do I have to do?
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, of course, I'm not going to be starting over David Harris. He's been there for 12 years, and he's on his way out. So I'm thinking, they're grooming me to be the next David Harris. But then, I'm back home.
Yeah.
And that was a rough time for me being back home. But then they called me back. Then they got rid of me again. They called me back because some people got injured. But then and then they end up, let me go. So it was tough. Like that, the whole the process of the NFL was so up and down and. A lot of guys or a lot of people don't know, how it is, but it's stressful.
Yeah.
It makes the game not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that a number of times now.
Yeah.
From people that I know and respect very much, that at some point in time the yo-yo and the roller coaster like experience, you just lose your love.
Lose it
for going through it.
Yep. I remember sitting outside during camp, sitting outside of our my hotel room with 2 of my other teammates who were also rookies that came in. Then the whole time we're just sitting there like worried. We might have one bad play, but the whole time that one bad play can get you out of there. That one bad play can get you sent back home or get you opportunity to not ever play in the NFL again. So we're just sitting there worrying like every single day. Everybody's not gonna have a perfect practice.
Yeah.
But everybody's gonna make those one play where you made the wrong read or one play where you're supposed to come downhill and you get sealed out. And at that point you're like, it happens. Yeah. But we can't think like that. It happens. We can't. We have to be perfect, especially as undrafted. You know, like other people, like first round draft picks, second round, third round draft picks. I seen it. I seen one of my teammates. He got so many opportunities, but if I did it one time, I'm gone.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, and like people, people don't realize that.
And would you? So I'm glad that you brought that up. I've heard from others that a lot of that, the fact that they get so much runway if they're a high draft pick is because someone's job's on the line for having drafted wrong.
100%.
So they continue to create excuses and explanations for another shot.
Yep. But us, especially undrafted, they let you at any time.
And Jill walked you in, and you were like casting a massive shadow over here. I mean, you could just literally throw a helmet on right now and probably strap it up right now.
With me, I'm at the point where now I can't even watch sports now. I don't watch football. I don't want everybody think I'm crazy. Like, you don't watch football,
Really?
like Hard Knocks, all that stuff. I almost did it last night because I was just up. I was up, and I saw. Only reason I was about to do it because I saw Eminem post that he was on Hard Knocks.
Yes.
So I'm like, let me see. Let me see. But then I went to it and I just X'd out of it. I can't anything with sports besides Michigan State football. I won't watch it. Like, I won't even go to the games. Everybody, you going to? No, I can't. Like, me personally, I just can't. Like, I have no love for it at all. Like, I probably wouldn't even, if my kids want to play, whatever. But at the same time, I wouldn't advise them to play.
Who was your biggest advocate? Who do you think along the way? I love the story. I mean, obviously, it's in your DNA. Your dad playing ball at a high level, right? For my beloved Chicago Bulls. Love it. Yeah, I'm from Chicago. Sometimes I'm like, you said Bulls. I'm like, immediately going through my head. I'm like, oh, Mr. Jones. Do I know him? But who was your biggest advocate in getting you through all those injuries at such a young age to stick with the sport?
My family.
Who in your family?
My mom,
though?
my dad,
Okay.
both of them.
Yeah.
My grandparents as well.
Yeah. Do you still have your grandparents today?
Lost my granddad, COVID.
I'm sorry to hear that.
My other granddad, he died when I was like, how was I? I think maybe like 2.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember them that much, but I still have both my grandmas here.
Okay.
So they're still here. So they, she just called me the other day, asked me what I was cooking for Labor Day.
Yeah.
But they're still here. But it was
Your family.
Yeah, my family, pretty much. Sister, and I had my nephew at the time.
Okay.
He looked up to me, so I couldn't let him down. Like he's walking around even on game days. If he's not at the game, he has the helmet and my jersey on. So I couldn't let them down. So when I did get cut and I did get released, it was like more so I let them down. It wasn't so much about me. It was so much more about like my family and like my friends and like people that believed in me. I feel like I let them down.
I've heard you say that now 3 times in like the 30 minutes we've been together. Yeah. Like Samantha and I, having Ava and Atlas at 14 and 12 and they're playing sports at Detroit Country Day, we're so proud of them, but we're often so sensitive and worried about the negative self-talk. Yeah. Like, I'm the biggest talker to myself. Like, no, like people say things to me and like people look at me waiting for me to respond. I'm like, man, I talk so much more to myself already today. Right. Like what that person said to me means nothing. Like that's not, 100%. That's the last thing that I'm going to react to. But I'm kind of hearing that from you too. Yeah. So obviously it's a very common thing, especially within people who have expectations of themselves. Right. Talk to me about that.
I don't know. I think it stems back from high school. When I told you I was being bullied. Because the only reason I went to the Cardinal Mooney was for football. It had nothing to do with the academics. It had something to do with going to a Catholic school because I was supposed to go to not Country Day, Brother Rice or St. Mary's. But it was too far. Yeah. I lived all the way in 26 mile, like New Baltimore, Michigan. My mom was letting me stay on campus. And the commute was, my parents aren't doing that. They both
forget about it.
So I ended up going to Cardinal Mooney. Like I said, I was bullied every day, like the black jokes, and they passed them off as jokes, but after a while, I'm not dumb. I'm not, even though I'm a kid, like I'm smart. I know what you're doing. And at one point, it became too much, like I said, and I told my parents, I'm done. So then this is when all the kids from the team are coming over to stopping by my house, apologizing and telling me how much they want me back on the team and how much, they care about me. And, they just thought it was jokes. They didn't mean any harm by it. So, they telling me, I'm thinking that they care about me. And at the end of the day, like, the damage has been done. I want to just go back to where I'm comfortable with playing. You know, people that I know. Plus, it's a bigger school. So after that, all the kids that told me they care about me, I never heard from them again. So I was like, now back in my mind, I'm young. I'm like, and people only care about me if I play football.
That's right.
You know, so
Yep.
it's just so that's why like I feel like I had to play, like I had to be the best at football. I had to be the best at Anchor Bay. You know, all the players, the coaches. When I first got to Anchor Bay, first person I met was the football coach. Before I even got my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, you know, everything is around football.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I'm done and now I have nobody, you know, I'm not playing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It's like, man, these people still care about me now I'm not playing football? These people these people, are they really genuinely, you know, they care about my feelings, or they just care about me as an athlete?
That's right.
You know, so it's just it was tough for me to grasp, because I would come back. The first time I got cut, I'm walking around Meyer, the same person that I'll see when I was playing or when I came home from college. First person to come up to me, hey man, how's it going? He walked right past me. Same person. It's crazy how it happened. Like, it's the same person I used to see all the time at Meyer. I don't know how. It always happened. I always see him at Meyer. Hey man, how you doing, man? How's football going? Oh, well, we're happy for you. I see him when I get cut. You know, everybody knows I got cut. Walk right, look me right in my eyes and walk right past me. So I was like, all right, that was like the first thing. I'm like, man, I gotta try to get back on the field. I'm trying hard to get back on the field.
Wow.
I tried to do the AAF, I did the XFL, I tried to do, you know, all these different leagues.
Yeah.
Just to get back on the field, just to get that sense of, like, you know, like that, some type of importance, you know.
Almost like external validation.
100%.
Right?
Yep. So that was like and that's it. It took me a while. Like, I dealt with depression, anxiety, all of that. Like, I'm in therapy now, just because I'm like, I need to talk to somebody, because me, I held everything in. This is the first time I'm like speaking on it ever. I mean, I told my parents obviously, but like, it took me 4 years to tell them, 3 years to tell them. Like,
Yeah.
This is like the first time, like, I was like, all right, let me just say, you know, because it
Sure.
feels better to like talk to my therapist. It's better to get it out.
Well, and it's not whether it's sports or business. Anyone who I would think, at least because I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah.
Right. It resonates for me. I mean, I go through peaks and valleys of, like, when things are great and I'm performing at a high level and people are like, oh man, great job. Like, oh, hey, can you come speak here? Hey, can you come speak there? Hey, can you share on this? Can you run training? Like, it makes
good.
It makes me feel
good.
like I
Then
have
when
value.
it stops, it's like,
Yeah.
it's
Well, and to me, Taiwan, you know what for me, like, the switch is, am I adding value? Do people see me as someone of value?
100%.
And it's not so much that I need them to tell me I'm great, but it's that I'm so obsessed with wanting to be great at what I'm doing that if I'm not getting the triggers of I'm sought after because I add value, then I go into these, like, massive, like, valleys of, like, self-talk
Yep.
and self-defeating thinking.
Which is, like you said, when you get down there, it's hard to come back up.
Yeah.
Especially if you know nothing. But like I said, I kept trying to play. I did the AAF, you know, so I'm like, okay, I go out there, I sign my contract, same team with Johnny Manziel, you know, I'm like, okay, fine, you know, like, this is a good opportunity right here.
That's right.
Signed my contract, called my parents, I'm back on the team, I worked out, I'm getting my physical now, you know, everybody's excited. 12 hours later, the league shuts down.
Yeah.
I don't even get to practice one day.
Wow.
So it's like the league shuts down, I don't get to practice. Then finally, I'm back home. Then it's talked about the XFL coming out.
That's right.
Actually, no, after the AAF, I ended up trying out, well, they called me to try out for the WWE.
Oh, that's right.
I tried out for the WWE. It's never in my mind. Like, I watched wrestling as a kid, but
That's
never
right.
in my mind. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be a wrestler, man. I'm gonna be like the next Rock, the next Triple H. But I tried out for the WWE. Didn't make it there because, you know, it's, you know, I'm not trying to do all these flips, man. I'm too big for all that. You know, I'm tumbling and I'm tumbling and stuff I've never done before.
You're like
I'm 26 at this point. Like, what am I doing?
A gymnast.
Yeah, like I'm like a gymnast, man. Four people at the tryout left with concussions.
Hey, Chad, if you get a chance, I need you to put up an image of Taiwan in, like, pink tights.
Yeah, something. I still got my picture of me. You know, I'm having to come out and, like, do, like, you know how you come out and You like, oh, like, you know,
Yeah.
they put like everybody sitting there watching you, all the other people trying out.
Yeah.
And they got like the lights, you come down, like, you know, you come out WWE, you see them
Yeah.
come out of
The tunnel.
the tunnel and everything like that. I
Yeah.
had to do all this extra stuff. I didn't even know what to say. I never even practiced. Like, I never practiced because these people, like, they're passionate about it. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like these are people that's like they've been wanting to. They're doing like, you know, wrestling shows. You know, they're trying to, like, you know, kind of like the NFL. Like they're taking the baby steps to get there. Me, I'm just there.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
So then I end up leaving, and then that's when the XFL is supposed to come out. So XFL comes out, I get drafted. I go out to LA. Then the season gets shut down because of COVID. I'm like, man, I can't catch a break. It's like something after something after something, and that's when.
Is that when you knew? Is that when you knew it was time to end that chapter in your life and start a new one?
Yeah, that, and because when I got back from the XFL, I couldn't walk for 2 weeks. My knees, like I'm telling you, I'm walking around the house like scraping my feet just to get around. Like at that point, I'm like, man, I'm only 26 at this time. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
So
keep
young.
This. You know, I can't. I want to be able to walk. You know, walk my kids around Disney World, and I had them walk me. You know, like push me around. So I just. At that point, I was like, all right, man, I'm probably not gonna play again. But then there's that now COVID. You're already locked up. You know, you're already locked up. That COVID was tough. You're already locked up, and then you have no purpose of what to do after. Like football, like me, like what I've been doing my whole life is done.
Yes.
At the same time, COVID happened. My granddad passed. It was a rough year. Like I'm talking. I was the lowest of low, and then that's how I ended up starting my business. One of my close friends. She ended up going through a breakup. She was out in Vegas. She came back. We went to go get something to eat along with a couple other friends. And then she lost so much weight. She asked me to train her. I mean, I'm like, I'm not trying to be no trainer. Like, you know, like, that's not what I want to do. And she said, come on. She said, I know you know what you're doing. You know, I've been doing it my whole life. So I ended up training her. Little did she know, like, I was like low. Like, she was depressed. I was depressed. I think we saved each other's lives. You know, at that point.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think she knows. But like, but she literally saved my life, and I'm sure I saved hers because she was, you know, she came back and had no purpose. When I seen her, like, it wasn't the same girl I met. She was so skinny. She lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
In a month and a half. Wasn't eating.
Wow.
Nothing, you know, so it was.
And that's where Transformation Lab was born.
No, that's where I started training.
Oh, that's where
so
you started training.
I was training out of my apartment gym.
What?
I was training at my apartment gym, and I used to go to a boxing gym in Pontiac.
Okay.
And then when I went there, I had a key to the gym. So the days, like, you know, because I don't want to get in trouble with my apartment complex gym, I'm bringing, like, you know, girls, you know, a couple girls in there just to train, and I'm making money off of it.
Yep.
So let me just use the key sometimes. I come here sometimes, come in before the workers come to work, which is 8 o'clock. So I used to wake up at 7, 6 to train them. And then the other days when they want to come later, I go to the boxing gym when nobody else is there just to train them.
Sure.
So that's how it started. And then it was a gym. Actually, some dude, I knew him, but I didn't really know him. He was training at another gym in Sterling Heights, and he said, hey, man, you don't have to train in your gym. He said, there's a spot over here for you. And I went over there, met with him, and I started training over there. And then it was like a bigger facility. I could bring more people in. I'd have to sneak people around.
That's right.
It wasn't stressful. I was there. I had a home to train people. And then I was there for about a year, and then at that point, it was time for me to, I was like, you know, what am I doing training at somebody else's gym when I can open up my own?
Yeah.
You know, at that point, I started getting, I had like 60 clients at the time. You know, I had 60 clients at the time, and then that gym ended up shutting down. So I ended up bringing those trainers to my gym. So now I'm at a place where I own my own gym, 8,400 square feet, half turf, half personal training, boxing, and I have 8 trainers that train under me. So it's just, like I said, everything happens for a reason. So I'm glad it happened like that, but also like the training thing, like that sense of validation that we get.
100%.
You get that 100%.
Yeah.
Changing people's bodies, changing people's lives. Because it's so much more than changing the bodies mentally. Like these people, they come to the gym and don't want to leave. You know, and it makes me feel good. Like you coming here because of the atmosphere that I brought. The atmosphere,
that's right.
Like, you know, it's not just like you go to a gym like Lifetime or, you know, something where you're just paying just to, you know, try to lose weight. Like this is more of a relationship built like gym or business that I kind of created.
And when did Transformation Lab open, and where is it located?
It's been a year. It was a year last Thursday.
Congratulations,
man.
Thank you.
Seriously. It's Sterling Heights, Michigan on 19 Mile and Van Dyke, right before M59.
And if people wanted more information around Transformation Lab, where could they find it online?
Google just Transformation Lab, and gym in Sterling Heights. And then also you can find us on Instagram at Transformation Lab_.
Transformation Lab _.
Not just like that. Like It's my baby now, you know. So that's like even probably when I open the gym, I don't know what it is, man. I just feel like all these tasks become when I open up the gym, I'm sitting at the gym, you know, I'm on my phone in between clients. My phone's blowing up. Twitter's blowing up. I'm like, what's going on? I get drafted by the USFL.
No.
I'm like, bro, I got no call. Like, normally, you know, you draft. I didn't even know I was
drafted.
in the draft. I didn't even know I was in the draft pool. I get drafted to the USFL. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm gonna give it one last run. It's the Michigan Panthers, so I'm thinking it's gonna be in Michigan.
Yes.
No, they're in Birmingham.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm like, okay, Birmingham, Michigan. I'm in Birmingham all the time. I go to Lust 220.
No.
I'm in Birmingham all the time. No, Birmingham, Alabama.
That's right.
Like, you know, now I'm like, I can't do that, man. I opened up this business. I don't want to leave for some quick money.
Yeah.
For a league that I've already been a part of two that just folded. You know, so I don't want to leave and then end up losing my business over something that's short term. So I'm gonna stick to a long term goal, and I end up just staying. And ever since then, like the business has grown. Like people, like the way like my business has grown. It's tremendous, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like I get like this week I got 6 new clients.
Yeah, it's word of mouth,
next
right?
week I got 2 more new clients. Like it's like I keep building. Like I'm starting to pass them out now. I even got one of like Demetrius Cox. He just same thing. Athlete's going through a hard time. He's from Pittsburgh. He literally got here last Friday to start training at the gym just for a different setting. Like just try to like do something different. So that's why I opened up the gym just to help people. That's why I do like a lot of community work with the gym. We do like these fight nights. You know, it's charity fight nights.
That's right. We talked about that.
So the first one we did, we raised $5,000 and took 25. I think it was like 25 kids to Target and gave them a $500 like stipend.
That's awesome.
One we did one for, and it was Valentine's Day. So we did it for like better women who were running from domestic violence, sexual assault. We gave them a $4,000 check. The third one we did in May was for like because everybody loves single, talks about single moms. Nobody talks about single dads. And dads. So we did it for another organization in Pontiac. Gave them a $4,000 check just to, put in like new equipment for like the gym or whatever they have going over there. And then we're doing the next one. I just announced it yesterday. It's going to be September 30th for veterans because based around 9/11, which is Sunday. So we're going to give back, to veterans September 30th at 7 p.m. So we have, and it's exciting, man. We have like,
and it's at the gym.
Yeah, 300, 400 people that show up at the gym. It's packed in there. It's packed. We have like 7 fights. It could be anybody. It could be like 2 guys, who just started boxing, started training. Like we don't have just like anybody sitting around. Like everybody that comes to box has some type of training.
Yeah.
Like the last one, we just had a guy he's 7-0 undefeated. He just won his last fight last Saturday. He's 8-0. We had one guy who won Golden Gloves. We had one guy who's been fighting for 30 years. We got girls that want to get in there. And just it's for charity. And then we have a DJ, we have food trucks.
Good
like,
for you.
It's like a good atmosphere. And like the reason I do it is to bring the community together.
Yes.
There's so many like the bullying thing. Like I said, it affected me so much that like I don't like that feeling. So I have white people, I have Chaldean, Albanian, Mexican, Black.
Yeah.
Like everybody's in the gym and everybody's getting along. And that's
multicultural, very diverse.
That's why I did it. I hate going to gyms and seeing like it's only like one certain type of people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're in this 2022, almost 2023 now, we're still dealing with, so that's why, like, now you get familiar. Like, I wasn't familiar with Chaldeans ever. Mm-hmm. My client base is 90% Chaldean.
Wow.
So, like, it's like I learn these people. They learn me. Yeah. Like, one of my boys the boxing gym in Pontiac, he's Mexican. Like, I've been around, Puerto Rico. I dated Puerto Rican women, but, like, being around, like, Mexican, like, being around there. Like everybody in the gym is Mexican. Like you learn so much just from different, cultures, different backgrounds. So that's kind of what I want to do at the gym. Like you see, everybody talks to everybody at the gym. It's not like one person where everybody's like, I only talk to my trainer.
That's right.
Everybody. My clients talk to all my other trainers' clients or my other trainers, and vice versa.
Good for you.
So that's what I tried to build and working on my second location right now. It's not for sure yet, but there's a gym in East Lansing.
Wow.
So one of the guys.
That would be special.
One of the guys, he actually trains with one of my trainers at the gym. They own Title Boxing East Lansing.
Okay.
So that, Title Boxing East Lansing, like, Title is not really what it used to be. So I was telling him, you make it into half boxing, half
Here's an opportunity,
training.
Right?
I'll go, we'll go in together and we'll make it work because, that's my stumping ground. East
That's
Lansing.
right.
So hopefully I can get that going. I just want to, build as many as I can,
Good for you. And I know we're coming up on the hour, and before we wrap up, I want to just hit on 2 quick things and really just round out these themes. bullying, therapy. You're pouring into children, men and women, around feeling great about themselves, being their best self, physically, mentally, emotionally, getting healthy. What do you think is the most meaningful impact that consistently going to therapy has created in your life?
It was actually only my third week.
Okay.
My third week yesterday, but it's just like talking to somebody who's not biased. You can talk to your parents, you can talk to your friends. They're gonna have some type of bias towards you. Hey, no, man, you're good, man. Don't like it's you can't talk to them. Talking to them, and like when I talk and like he asks me questions and I just start like flowing. I start to pick up. You start to pick up like, okay, that's why. Okay, that makes sense. That's why I feel this way. That's why this happens. And like even like relationships, we talked about it yesterday. Just like one little thing, like us as athletes. So I say he does a lot of couple therapy because, like, say you have your girl, your wife, or whoever, they're telling you like, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to like take the trash out. Or there's different ways to talk about it because with us, we're athletes. Now you kind of sound like a coach. We're done playing. Like I told you, I don't watch football anymore. I can't watch it. So now it's kind of like traumatic. It's it's triggering. Now I don't want to take out the trash because I feel like you're telling me to do it. Like like you are my coach.
That's right.
You're this figure that kind of made my life kind of terrible for like the past couple years.
Sure.
It's like little things like that. You don't realize it until like, okay, now it makes sense. This is why I feel this way.
Yes.
So I think therapy, like you don't even have to be going through anything. It's somebody to talk to. I think everybody should do it. Yeah. Everybody should do it just to get in tune with themselves and just to feel like, everybody has some type of traumatic experience throughout their life.
I hosted my children Ava and Atlas a couple weeks ago to just talk about going through life at their age and dreaming big and attacking the things that are important to them. We touched on bullying a little bit, but what do people know? What do people need to know? What do people need to hear from the adult version of you that went through that at such a young age so that they could be better parents, advocates, and influencers to their children so that they don't instigate it or so that they don't take it without standing up for themselves? When you have Junior, what will you do or say to your son or daughter to ensure that they don't instigate it or take crap that they shouldn't?
Pretty much, I would just put them, tell them what I went through. Tell them what I went through and tell them, just what every parent should be saying, like treat everybody the way you want to be treated, or like get them around people that don't look like him. I think that's what the biggest thing is. Like especially me, I was out in a predominantly like white community. They haven't seen. I was the only black kid at the school, and I think they said before me it was only one black girl in like 10 years. So they're not used to me. They're not used to me being there, and I think that's just. I don't blame the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like the kids are gonna be kids. They get it. It's what they hear at home. It's what they learn at home, and it's just like it's funny to them. So I would say like I would try to get my kid out of his comfort zone and bring him to different. Meet him with different people. Bring him to the gym where you'll see different types of people. Yeah. Bring him places where it's not. Where you have to like go out of your way to, get to know somebody. That's the biggest thing. I think everybody just feels so comfortable with the people who look like them. So, it's tough to like break that barrier because it's uncomfortable. And a lot of people, we just don't like being uncomfortable.
Yeah. So obviously, if I'm listening well, Taiwan, one thing is to reinforce standards and values with your children, right? Remind them about the platinum rule, the golden rule. Number two. It's help our children become more comfortable in diverse environments. And I love hearing that you're making that come to life through the gym, right? Just so much diversity within the gym, within community around something that's important, which is our physical and mental and emotional health. So that's awesome that that's going on at Transformation Lab. But number three, it's also model what we preach. Right. So watch what we say, but also watch what we do as parents because our children are watching everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. This was an awesome conversation, Taiwan, man. I'm glad you were able to come in. I know you've been super swamped. I mean, I loved hearing about your childhood. I love tapping into that. I mean, just one of the most incredible runs in college football history that Michigan State had with Coach Dantonio and your teammates. Loved hearing stories about that. I'm so excited for what you're doing with Transformation Lab, but more than anything, thank you for opening up on topics that are that take a lot of courage and vulnerability, like depression, like bullying. People who listen to our podcast, they really give us positive feedback when conversations go in that direction, because they know it takes a lot of courage for people to open up about it. So thanks for sharing that intimate story with us today.
Of course, anytime.
Loved having you on, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. The conversation around pursuing some of your wildest dreams, what it takes to pursue greatness, how to overcome adversity, things like injuries, bullying, depression, and most importantly, how to pivot when the time comes to end a chapter and start a new one. Thanks for sharing this time with me in Taiwan, and I hope you listen again next week.